topic is coaching niche, and I definitely want to find out my coaching niche. I'm hopeful that PK will enlighten us with some gyan and tools and awareness. Everybody knows PK. I don't think I need to introduce PK as such to the group. So PK, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you, Mukesh. Happy to be here. I think I need to share my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah. Okay. So good evening. Happy to be here, sharing some thoughts about coaching niche and finding my own space.
Sorry.
Also, you have to hit the car, is it?
Boss, I'm extremely
You can
sorry.
get your phone, won't you?
No, I'm extremely sorry. Please pardon me.
What the hell, man?
Mukesh, can you please mute?
I have muted him, PK. I am also on mute now.
Okay. And are you recording, Mukesh?
Yeah, I am recording.
Okay. So are we good to go?
So Subhash has suggested that we wait for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yeah, I think some more participants may be joining, perhaps.
Okay. Let's.
I am okay. I am okay. Your call.
No, so let's wait for 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
How many people do we have right now?
10.
I think let us start. Let us respect PK's time and also of the people who have joined on time.
Hey Nitin, I hope everything's all right with your car, right?
Yeah.
So you are not 5,000 poorer.
So I think let us start.
Yeah. Okay. PK, please go ahead.
Sure. So I'm very happy to be here sharing some of my thoughts on coaching niche and finding my own space. So probably we will have some 30 to 40 minutes sharing some perspectives, sharing some approaches in particular, how one could probably find one's own niche. And then we will have a fair amount of time for Q&A so that we can share our thoughts each other. So the context, we need to just put the context in which we are discussing this today. One of the recent studies say 4% of the coaches are successful, meaning 96% of the coaches are not as successful as they would wish to be. And it also suggests only 19% of the coaches who start their business see year 4. 81% of the coaches either switch or join back job or do some other consulting apart from coaching by the end of year 3. The good news, of course, is that we can change that. One of the other finding is that the predominant reason, or one of the top 5 reasons why coaches are not as successful as they must be, is that they have lack of a profitable niche. So one of the top 5 reasons have been identified as not having a profitable, viable niche. When we are discussing today about niche, a couple of things that I want each of us to keep in perspective is that when I talk about my coaching business, one part that as coaches we all see is what I am and what I create. The other part of my business is what others see. So in today's conversation, we will be looking at both the sides. Also, I would like to address the coaching business, my coaching business, on the second part more than the first part. Another aspect that I want each of us to keep in mind today is that when we look at the coaching business, what is visible to others is my specialty, my expertise, my passion, and the specific segment that I can relate with as a coach and I can understand as a coach. The bottom part, which largely remains not visible outside, is my coaching skills, certifications, process, lifelong learning that we all keep as utmost respect to ourselves and the profession. So we will be looking at the visible part to a large extent in our conversation today. And niche, as we understand, it can change probably. The niche that we start with may undergo some changes as we go along the coaching journey. And there are many cases where niches have been either narrowed down further or expanded a little, in successful cases of coaching. So another aspect is that today we will be using these terms interchangeably. We would have heard choosing a niche, deciding on a niche, finding a niche, letting the niche find me, or receiving my niche. So whichever lingo or whichever vocabulary that we use or we hear or we get familiar with, by reading and hearing, etc. Today it is being, used interchangeably. Before we get into the approaches, that specific approaches that I wanted to share with you today, just to get the relevance once again, anchored. Coaching niche, the relevance of coaching niche is that we find our compass and we find our positioning, and therefore we can focus on what we need to do and where we want to address, which specific segment or audience we want to address through our coaching business. Another aspect of coaching niche, what is the relevance is that we gather competitive advantage in that segment, that particular niche that we choose for ourselves. It helps us build competitive advantage. And it builds definitely our competency in that area, that specific segment. And it definitely enhances our potential to help to assist the people in that particular segment facing that specific challenges. Over a period of time, of course, it helps us build credibility. Mukesh, are we on mute? All other attendees are on mute. I can hear some.
I'm just checking. I'm muting everyone.
Okay. Yeah. So over a period of time, it adds up to our credibility, and we become the person to go to, the expert to go to in that area. Definitely helps marketing. We are able to access the specific area, the specific audience, the specific need in the market. Gone are the days of carpet bombing, and today we do surgical strike. So essentially, our ability to do surgical strikes as we acquire clients gets significantly boosted. So our ability to market to a specific need, to a specific area becomes more handy. And therefore our whole marketing and the business development initiatives become more effective, more direct, more relatable to the segment. And definitely it helps the clients to distinguish. As we are chasing the right clients, even the clients are chasing right coaches. So we help our clients by positioning ourselves well, by positioning ourselves clearly, so that the clients can reach out and clients can also distinguish between different coaches whom to approach for a specific need. And it starts attracting real clients. And it gets real leads, it gets real referrals. Even the network and the the people, well-wishers who want to refer clients to us, even they will be able to refer the real clients to us. Even the referrals become more meaningful. As coaches, probably we might be thinking that coaching is non-directive, so can I coach anyone? But the experience is that the presence, coaching presence, the experience that I have as a coach, the understanding from which I ask questions are very different when I am in my niche area. From coach to coach, it can differ depending on which area that they operate more frequently, which area, which terrain they are more familiar with. For example, if I am coaching a pilot, for example, I need to be able to maintain my presence when it goes through a thunderstorm, or when the pilot is moving through a turbulence, or I need to get comfortable with being blinded by entering clouds. And that may be very different from coaching a bus driver, though both are driving some vehicle. So the niche essentially is how I am able to bring my presence, my experience, and the understanding from which I ask questions as a coach. Similarly, how the answers are listened to, how we are listening to my client, and how I am understanding him, what is said and what is unsaid, and how I am being responded to by the client also differs significantly from coach to coach when they operate in their niches. For example, a pilot may be saying that I took a left at 13 degree north, 77 degree east to indicate something that he did above Bangalore, whereas a bus driver may be telling you the experience saying that I took the left, the signal immediately after Vidhan Sauda. So the way we listen to them, the way we get into their lingo, their vocabulary, and the experiences that they are sharing, and the way we listen to their answers significantly changes from the niches when a coach is coaching on a niche or otherwise. A couple of coaches, experienced business coaches, that they have, some of them have given some perspectives. When you set up your business to appeal to everyone, it ends up appealing to no one. Laurel Staples. And don't be a generalist. Niching successfully means avoiding spreading yourself too thin. Kelly Clifford. Now, coming to coaching niches, what are the available niches that are, marketable and viable?
PK, Bobby here. Can we ask question now or after the session?
I'm okay if you want to answer something.
No, you just talked about, when I'm dealing with the pilot, I should be able to understand what that language means, bus driver, what he means, and we should be able to visualize that and ask that we are present there, right? So the question which comes to my mind is it necessary that the coach has to be from the same domain or the same industry or anything, or at least that area of interest should be there for him?
See, the examples are only to highlight that when a person coaching in his niche area, he is familiar with the terrain. He is familiar, or she is familiar with the client context, the situation. So they will be able to connect with, relate with, understand better. That is the very limited purport on my explaining that example. So anything else is a question of how familiar we become, how frequently we are traveling in that area, and how familiar we are with that space. So even to answer, yeah, possibly I need not be a pilot to coach a pilot, but I need to be familiar with what they are going through, and I need to preserve myself in the situations that I am taking him through. That was the limited purpose.
So are we then being truly non-judgmental? Because then if we have some awareness of the area and we bring that, then I'm just wondering.
Okay, fine. So possibly we will come back to this after going through the approaches that I'm going to discuss.
Thanks, PK. Thanks. So that's where.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if we were to choose a niche, the point is that anything under the sun can be a niche. Possibilities are immense, and the newer the niche, the less used the niche, the better the chances of success. So it might be counterintuitive to think that when I narrow down my funnel mouth, am I going to get better commercially and successfully as a coach? The answer is yes. If I moderate my funnel mouth, I am being relevant to a particular area or a particular segment, a particular challenge that the market is facing. People are not looking for coaching. People are looking for solutions by themselves. So coaching is a process which helps them find the solution. So essentially, the narrower the niche, the more specific the niche gets, the chances of success are even higher. And if you just Google what are the coaching niches, 100 coaching niches, etc., it will throw up many areas that are possible to be a coaching niche. And every one of us are free or even encouraged to find our own niches in addition to what is even existing, because it throws up tremendous opportunities for that segment. We will just see how we can do that. The approach one, I'm going to discuss today 6 approaches. These are not mutually exclusive. One may be able to find their niche in one of these methods or a combination of these methods, or even some approach other than these 6 methods. The point is we find a niche. That's more important than the approach or the path that we take. So with that, keeping that in mind, the first approach is that, we look for what is my passion, what is the area that gives me energy, what excites me, and what is my experience so far. Being a coach, we bring our whole ourselves into the coaching table. Therefore, the experiences that we have had in the life, in work, otherwise, is very much an added value to what I am today. Therefore, we need to consider, or we can consider, where I am experienced while deriving my niche. Specialty, what is unique about me? What is that I am able to bring that possibly the market is looking for and other coaches are not able to provide? So my specialty, I can have a look at that and bring that as part of or as a factor to determine my niche. And ultimately, it is the connection, where I am able to connect with, where I am able to relate with, where I am able to align with. And that segment, that particular segment of the audience might be finding me attractive. So when I choose the niche, I can keep these things in perspective, and probably we can factor in these elements into arriving at my niche. Approach 2 is, having started the journey and having tasted coaching to an extent, we can look at which are the types of clients that I enjoy the most working with. It's a reflection, essentially a very open and true reflection within ourselves as to which type of clients are I am enjoying the most working with, what is exciting me, and which context that I am passionate about, areas that is enabling me to bring myself wholly into the table, and the spaces that are exciting for me, which fires me up, where I stop performing to an extent and I start experiencing. As a coach, when we reflect this segment of this sector of coaches and situations, we might be able to figure out something that excites me, that brings me energy. Then the question will be, is it marketable? Are there enough people, looking for solution in that area? Are there enough people facing the challenges in that area? Is it going to be profitable? Are the people going to pay the money that I am expecting for coaching? Is it viable in the market? So this is a very, very important aspect, because just what is interesting for me might not be really a coaching niche that the market may accept. So we need to see viability in the market, the profitable niche. So a niche becomes profitable when it is viable in the context and in the market that we are operating in. And then it is a question of trusting my intuition, my inner voice, and going with it. So this probably is another method to find my niche. The approach 3 is the simplest of all, according to me. Start with a niche that I know well, I have experience, I have credibility in that area amongst that segment of people, and an area where I feel there is a support needed in the market. People are looking for assistance, so that is a viability piece. And the third is an area where my network, my circles would provide or at least refer first few clients. So this is essentially combining my experience, my life so far, my credibility, and then matching it with the market demand, checking that whether it is viable in the market and whether the first few clients are available from my own network or my own circles, or at least they will be able to provide me with some references. So just to reflect, and this is the way I found my niche. So the journey in 2012-13 when I started, this is the method I used for finding my niche, and it has remained since then. Approach 4 is for, more systematic, more formal approach to finding the niche. Here, again, having started the journey and understanding the situation, the market, etc., which is the type of clients or conversations that I am interested in. So we could segment them into different professions, occupations, communities, age group, or range of age, maybe startups between the age group of 25 to 35, or middle-aged guys, contemplating a career change. So it could be any of such, or chartered accountants practicing in Bangalore with a team size of less than 50. So you can categorize the types of clients or the conversations that I am finding some interest in. It could be any special segment that I am operating in. People even looking at today for caring, working adults, caring their parents. There is some niche that somebody has come up with. So he coaches only people who are going to office and who are caring elders at home. They are facing and they are undergoing different kinds of challenges. So it could be as specific as that, And then the next two is, the viability check. What is the opportunity available in the market? What is the size of the market? Probably some intelligence, market intelligence as to what is the pie size and what are the needs, what are the possibilities, what additional things that market is looking at in that area and what I could bring to the table and how much they earn. The third column we can fill in for each of these segments, areas where I am finding interest, how much they earn and how much they are willing to invest in their own development. And the last column is to find why I am the best. How am I able to relate with it? How I am getting energy from it and how energetic is that on an ongoing basis? How I am able to align with them? How I am able to prioritize the solutions for them? So once you are coaching, you will receive your niche. One of the most respected coaches, Karen Capello, she has this to say that trust your niche to find you. So essentially, this approach might be, following the areas that I am interested in, and one of them to find me. Doing this exercise side by side, we might be able to reach there. We might be able to find my niche. The approach 5 is to ask a set of questions. Here, what I am bringing to my coaching table, in addition, Mukesh, can I take your help?
What happened, PK?
Yeah, there was some noise, background noise. So somebody needs to be muted.
Actually, I have manually muted everyone.
Okay, fine, great. Now it stopped. Okay, thank you. So here it's asking a few sets of questions to ourselves and trying to answer them as detailed and as descriptive as possible. What I'm bringing to my coaching table, in addition to my coaching skills and my coaching training, in addition to the coaching competencies, whom it's likely to benefit the most. How would it be different from what they are already getting? How can I make a positive difference to them, meaning that specific segment, that specific audience? Would the types of clients that I want to work with be able to pay the fees that I want to charge? Are they willing to pay as well? That is the viability part. How can I be a credible coach to that segment? So then it is about building up stories as to how I am the best to service them and to service that type of clients and that type of segment. So this essentially is self-reflection, and added with the specific questions, answering them, we will get our niche. The final one that I wanted to share with you today is purely business oriented. It's about finding what is my competitive advantage. Very powerful one. It's an excellent way to find our own niche. This essentially includes 4 steps. The first step is, what can I do that my clients, what can I do for my clients that no one else can do? What is my clients getting from me that they are not able to get from someone else? So this is absolutely the competitive advantage, the uniqueness that I can bring into the table. Then the question, the second part of the exercise is to ask, what can I do for my clients that anyone can also do, but I can do it better and I can prove it. So here it's about ability to service them better. And the third part is that what I do, others also do, all the same, no real differentiation. So that's something that's available in the market. So I can't differentiate myself really in those aspects. Then also one last part of this exercise is to ask what others are doing that I may not be able to do, or I don't choose to do. I don't or I can't do. So this exercise will clearly lay out where I can stand out. What's my competitive advantage? All this keeping the coaching skills intact and coaching journey in terms of competencies and lifelong learnings and processes, all keeping the same. These are in addition to that, what is that I am bringing with my presence that others are not able to bring. So before we open up for Q&A, a few more thoughts on what happens if we are able to find our niche. First and foremost is that we are able to position better ourselves. Better positioning, better visibility therefore, and better connect with my coaching audience. For myself, confidence, improved presence, coaching presence, and a competitive advantage, accentuating the competitive advantage, anchoring it as I go forward. And as the period lapses and as we go coaching and journey, I become the person to go to in that segment. Effective BD. Today we are operating with tight budgets, resources, time, efforts. So in order to have very effective BD to reach the right people, as we earlier said, surgical strikes, we will be able to do that through our business development and marketing. And what we will be telling will be relevant stories to the target segment. So we will be able to create relevant stories. We will be able to tell them real stories, relevant stories, which will also facilitate sourcing real leads, not everything that comes through the funnel, and real referrals. even the people in the network, in the circles, will be able to direct the real clients to us so that our conversion will be faster and our conversion rate will be higher. So whatever comes through the funnel, since it is already narrowed down, will be the conversion time from our first meet to signing up can be really brought down. And the rate of conversion, when I meet 10 business development calls, 6 to 8 I would have converted. So this is possible because it is a qualified lead by itself. So increased value as a result, because I am very familiar with that segment and that segment people, I am able to add more value there. More value they are also able to see in what I am offering. So the perceived value is already there, and the value for me and value for the client, both are on the higher side as a result of me operating in my niche. How do I know that I have got mine? So some of the sample tests, whether I have got my niche right or whether I have got my niche at all, is when I start loving and I start admiring the clients that I am working with. My clients love me because I am offering exact services that they need. We are able to together create the solutions that they are seeking. And I know also that I am helping them, making a positive difference. This is the kick that we get out of every coaching session, as we can understand. And I attract new clients. More importantly, we all need clients. To be successful business, we need clients, and attracting clients is difficult. So I attract new clients. I am getting relevant leads. I am getting relevant referrals, and I experience therefore financial rewards. So when I start getting financial rewards and it is more or less continuous, I know that I got my niche. Clients are investing the fee that I want. That is another test that I have got my niche. They are willing to pay what I am asking them to pay. And ultimately, the test is that my prospect, before he accesses me, before he chooses to speak to me, he understands who I am and what I do, and what they will get and how they can get benefited. If my prospect understands that before we engage on a BD call, I think that is an ultimate proof of me getting the right niche, because they know exactly what they will get, engaging with me, and they already know who I am and what I do before I start introducing myself. Ultimately, what matters is people are less interested in knowing what I do. People are interested in knowing what I can do for them. And people are not asking, or they don't seek coaching, they are seeking solutions. So that is what they are seeing. And if we get into their side and start viewing things, we will understand this is what matters as a coachee, as a person who needs help in the market. So how well we can help him identify the right coach, how well we can help him distinguish whom to go to, is what we can do as coaches by finding our niche. So going back to that, my coaching business that we saw in the beginning, when I find my own space, what I am, what I create, and what prospects see is seamless. And what my prospects are able to see, what is visible outside, and what I am and what I create inside becomes seamless without any boundaries. And when this happens is when the coaching starts magical and the niche starts working at its best. Then what happens is that the visibility outside, we will be visible to the prospects. We will be relevant to the prospects. We will be appealing to the prospects. We will be able to deliver benefits to the prospects. Not the market at large, but to the specific audience, to the specific target group that we are targeting. We will be visible to them. And coaching skills, certifications, Yeah, so the visibility part will be absolutely clear and it will be clearly addressed to the prospects. Keeping the coaching skills, certifications, process, lifelong learning as it is beneath, which is by and large not visible to outside people, fortunately or unfortunately. So that's what I just thought of sharing with you. So now we are open to Q&A. Mukesh.
So PK, is there a risk? I'm coming back to what I said in the beginning. Is there a risk when we find our niche, right? And because we will also be getting into our own comfort zone to a certain extent. I mean, a very, very broad sense. And since the coach is also saying that you are from this, will we end up doing some portion of mentoring, or how can I can still be a coach in the true sense of the word, or we just say coaches want 5% mentoring, it's okay to do 5% or 10% mentoring in a coaching session?
See, it is up to us how we want to come across and how we want to add value to the client. Without risking, using the words which are again defined by us only. So as it is, I don't need, or I have made a choice not to be bound by definitions. I am there available to the coachee, and he is here not because I am a coach. He is here because he wants to find some solution for the problems that he is facing in life or at work. So when we look at it that way, we will become absolute coaches. And whatever brings that to the table with coaching competencies, coaching is an amazing process. It's a fantastic process to find solutions. So I would adopt them. I would be a coach, and I would be a coach to that particular segment, addressing those specific challenges, trying to figure out solutions. And whether I will be getting into a comfort zone, the actual thing is exactly the opposite. Because the more deeper I go in the segment, the challenges are different, the context is different, different people. So I will be having an overall, every day I will be challenged, though it will be, it will be the same journey as coaching journey, as you, or as one understands the segment may be the same, but the challenges and the situations that solutions that they are seeking is very different.
Thanks, PK. I think it explains to a large extent.
Yeah. And Bobby, you had one more question that in the beginning that you asked. Is it still there, or is it answered to an extent?
It is somewhat related to this.
Okay.
But PK, is it okay if someone else had a view of what you said? For my question, if any other person had a different view, is it okay to hear from them?
Yeah, of course. It is open. The floor is open.
I think it's fine, done. Any other question by anyone? I think.
PK, Subhash, my connectivity is bad. I hope I can get the question across. If you get a lead which is not your niche, do you accept or reject?
Yeah, personally, I don't accept. I refer it to my colleague coaches.
Okay. PK, If I can ask one more question,
Yeah,
assuming
sure.
that you're not covered, choosing the niche is
Yeah. Subhash, we can't hear you. Go ahead.
now how much of it is my own bias, my own self-limiting belief that prevents me from choosing my niche? And any thought on that?
I would rather look at it from the other perspective. How powerful or how empowering are my thoughts to choose a niche? Rather than looking at, that is another way of looking at it, Subhash. How empowering the thoughts are to allow me to choose my niche, to allow me to service a particular section of society larger and more, effectively than others. It is more empowering to see how much energy I can bring into those conversations. So I would rather look at it from a more empowering way of thinking rather than limiting. It is limiting. I read your question as it's limiting because I am avoiding certain areas, or I'm having my own bias in choosing some areas. And that is the way I am. So why don't I bring my best to the coaching table? As a coach, I have a bias. I mean, I am not willing to coach somebody paying 1,000 rupees per session, any of us for that matter. At the same time, I choose to coach somebody who is in non-profit without taking any money. So I have biases. So why don't we bring that bias? I am biased with my choices. So coaching niche is nothing but choosing the right sort of area to play. And by choosing the right area to play, we are only helping our clients. We are only becoming more effective for my clients. I am becoming only more resourceful, more valuable for what they are paying for. So it's actually more empowering than limiting is my my view.
Yeah. Yes, sure. Thanks, PK.
Hi, PK. This is Saurav. I had one question on the tools or approaches that you had mentioned. So most of these approaches are actually starting with you as a coach, and you do a self-reflection and then look for your passion or whatever. So is there another tool, or is there another way in which you can reach out to people who know you, who have seen you, or who have experienced you, and then possibly ask them what is it that they found the best in us? So have you thought about that as is that a tool that can be used?
A sort of 360?
Yeah, possibly. Someone who is a prospective client, or maybe someone who has experienced you in some other way. Is that a way in which we can identify it? Because many times you are blind to many things which others can see.
Sure, looks interesting. Yeah. Possibly we can factor that also into our exercise of finding the niche.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah. Yeah, Subhash says Ikigai is a good tool, perhaps. Absolutely. Ikigai, but Ikigai doesn't happen, right? We need to find it. It is absolutely spot on. I mean, once we find the niche, we know we have got the niche because prospects already know what I'm doing and how I can add value. And it is financially rewarding for me. I have a qualified leads coming in. Then I am in Ikigai, but I have found it. The point is that I need to make right choices to get right results. So it's a question of, getting to making the right choices so that I get right outcomes. And finding a niche, I think, is one of them for a coach.
We can just to take this logic to help the coaches find their own niche. How do you think a chapter like ICF Bangalore chapter can help the members? In what ways? Because the reason I'm asking this is that suppose someone says my niche is dealing with young professionals, or my niche is with, but the decision makers are all sitting on top and they have no reach. So, but, or I just thinking, how do we, even if some people know their niche, they may not know how to address that market. So I'm just, because there's nothing related to niche, I'm asking this question. Otherwise, we'll first focus on getting the individual's niche. Otherwise, just expanding the scope of discussion to find how chapter can help people find their niche or help them have forums where they can present their niche. Just a thought. I mean, you have been the chapter leadership that I'm asking you.
See, to answer your second part first, if I am passionate about helping young professionals, I would have found a way. So that is it all about. So if I am really passionate, or I have experience, or I have proximity, I have connect, I am relating with, I am able to get energy from helping young professionals, I would figure out a way to reach them. I would figure out, because we get what we seek. So when I seek, I get it. If it doesn't require anybody's help, actually. If I look at, finding or helping young professionals may not be a clear niche to address, because it is quite wide, according to me. You can start anywhere you want. It is our choice, but just to express my thoughts on that, young professionals is very large community and very vague in terms of being described as a niche. So if you are saying that an young professional just who is in the verge of getting a pink slip, or young professional who is struggling with meeting his ends, young professional who has just moved to a city, struggling to find his foot. So these sort of things can be in the working environment, but young professionals also have equally challenging other side in terms of life, in terms of relationships, in terms of all that. They want to build their family, they want to get into, balance their old generation, new generation, all that. Young professionals with a child. So it could be, very open and very broad, and it might not be therefore qualify as a niche. But depending on these, your approach also will differ. See, for example, if a youngster who is just moved to a city on a new job, the way you need to approach them or to find them is very different from a person struggling with a pink slip, or a person struggling with with a marriage, or a person struggling with just become a parent. So, we need the access or the approach, and every coaching fees need not be paid by the company. And there are many cases where coaching fees are picked up by individuals. That population is increasing. So the welcome trend is that population is increasing. You can place yourself in whichever market that is willing to pay and that has ability to pay. Ability to pay alone may not be good enough. Even we need to check willingness to pay. So that is that part of it. So actually, if you are fired up on helping a particular segment of society, you will find the ways and means to reach them and address them. And once you start doing it, they will start finding you. So you will be helping them to find you. That is one aspect of it. How a chapter can help, probably Mukesh floated an idea sometime back, whether we can have a workshop to find our own niche. I don't know, I have not attended one yet. So possibly we can think at doing something like that. Probably we can brainstorm and create. I don't see a requirement or a need where chapters can promote a particular niche, because everyone will be there. Since a chapter is an ICF and many interests and conflicts are around it, possibly the chapter can help its members, and members can help themselves to get into the right stages and right podiums and right areas where spotlight is on them. So one thing that I want to reassure you is that the spotlight is in our hands. The only fact is that we are searching everywhere, and probably we are thinking that the spotlight will fall by itself. Not necessarily. We need to help a lot to bring the spotlight to ourselves.
Thanks, because I think it explains a lot. But I think this workshop is something you, Mukesh, and I can brainstorm and see what can we achieve.
Sure, I will be happy to help. So Sanyogi is asking, any books you recommend in your experience? What are some, I'm missing one word there, maybe because of my screen arrangement or whatever, viable niches. See, I have not come across any book that suggests us how to go about bringing our niche. Probably somebody has published something. I have not laid my hands yet. There is enough material available to read. We need not even just go by coaching niche. We can even draw upon learnings from general businesses. We can learn a lot from business stories. We can learn a lot from consultants and other parallel professional stories and experiences. But predominantly, I would say going inwards is the best. So to find a niche, I think we need to travel inwards rather than outwards. Any other questions? And one more thing I wanted to share is that as coaches, we can help each other finding others' niche, because some of those conversations can be very useful, where the ideas that I have and the niche that I have in mind, we can always bounce it off our fellow coaches, and I will be available at any time and every time for this audience, for us to help each other. So I will be always available. I see John C here. Is John C, you are there?
I'm there, PK. I'm in a train, so I'm just being quiet.
Okay, so I think we have few more minutes. So so if you have any any kind of thoughts on niches that we were discussing at some point in time, if you want to share, you can share for the benefit of the whole group. What you have in mind, what you are seeking.
No. I think you have answered it quite well. I found it quite interesting and quite insightful, PK. Thank you for this.
Thank you, John C. So if there are no more questions, Mukesh, shall we call it?
I'm just seeing who's there. Nitin, you are there? Because we can follow the meeting, but I think Nitin was the host or Mukesh. I think it's a great session, PK. Thank you very much. I think if there are no more questions, we'll call off the. Is that fine, everyone? Hello.
Yep.
Okay.
I think so. Thanks a lot, Bobby. Thank you very much.
So, guys, just to remind all of you, all members who are the chapter, you must have got the notice for the AGM on September 28th at 6 p.m. at in Domlur in Hotel Ramada. So, look forward to seeing all of you in the AGM. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.